Good morning, Black women. Money should not be the reason that you stay in a toxic job or should stay anywhere. It doesn't have to be a toxic job, it can be a fine job that you think is okay but not supporting the life of your dreams. It could also be a relationship. I think this advice is going to be helpful to those of you who are looking to leave anything, a relationship, a country, right? We're going to talk today to a couple of women who are experts at getting women out of their current situation, healing from it, and then moving forward. We have some problems. I don't know where they are yet. Okay, so I don't know where my guests for today are, but that doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and get started, and then they will join us. They're in California. Kimani's in California. It's 7 a.m. in California, and so I may have miscommunicated the time. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the video today, introduce my channel, and then we'll get going. If you're watching the replay, hello friends in the future, I'll put a timestamp in the description of the video that will tell you when my guests join me. So I have to, but I do need to introduce a couple of things. So it works out that I'm here by myself for a second. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter. I'm the creator of House Sitter School, the co-creator of Exodus Summit. And on this channel, I help Black women take a sabbatical, move abroad, bop around as a nomad, all while embracing ease. If these things sound good to you, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button on this channel and turn on notifications. Ring the notification bell so you'll be notified when I post a new video or when I go live. Welcome. I would like a little more light on my face. Thank you. I'm house sitting right now, and the cat is bonkers. I don't know. He's a kitten, right? And so you're going to hear some meowing. Right now, he's just like running from the thing and running over the sofa like it's a steeplechase, like he's in a steeplechase in the Olympics. So you're going to hear some cat sitting noises. I'm in Costa Rica. This is my very first house sit in Costa Rica. Okay. All right. So I've introduced myself. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves so we can go ahead and get going? We're in black. It's the Wear Black Day, I guess. Wear Black Day. Kimani, hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Kamani, licensed clinical psychologist. You may follow me already on my YouTube channel, Lifting as We Climb Consulting Wellness Services, where I focus on helping Black women leave and heal from toxic jobs. So I'm so excited to be here to show you a way out to that North Star. Okay.
And Dr. Kimani, your YouTube channel, Lifting as We Climb Consulting Wellness Services, you talk about, give us a couple of things that you talk about on your channel.
Yes. So I talk about healing for Black women because when you think about toxic work environments, it's a form of trauma. And I think as Black women, we've been programmed in terms of social program that we keep going, we fight, we get all the degrees, we do all these different things, and we go into these very hostile workplaces that are rife with just dysfunction and insecurities and all these things that get projected on us. And so I think many times we become disillusioned because we've done all these things. We come into these hostile workplaces and we are full on attack. And so as Black women, again, we've been told you just work hard, you don't let them run you out there, you just stick, you're not weak. And so we stay there and the job is harming us, right? To the point where it can even kill us. And so, from my own experiences, so I'm a toxic job survivor in addition to a licensed clinical psychologist. And as I was moving out, so as I took a leave of absence, I knew they were trying to silence me. So part of my resistance was that I created a YouTube channel. You know, I was in your YouTube challenge and I told you the topic. You were like, girl, do it. Right. And so the more I started talking about my own healing journey, I noticed how many Black women from around the world were contacting me and saying, oh my God, this is my experience. Are you in my head? Oh my God, I dread going to work. I'm crying going to work. I had a heart attack. I had a stroke, like all these I knew somebody who died, all these very, very, very serious things. And I started doing research that confirms that being in a toxic environment can really harm you, significant harm, so physically and psychologically. So I am ushering in a movement right now. I'm embracing it. I'm ushering in a movement to help as many Black women as I can to leave and heal from toxic jobs. So
Yes.
that's how it started. And the more I started talking, the more Black women, and then I started talking, okay, well, let me have other Black women on. So I have Black women guests talking about their own healing journey. But now I'm pivoting more so in terms of I want to show you how to get out because the healing is important, but also people need to know how to get out and how to work through those fears because the fears are real. I
Yeah.
remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday. I resigned over a year ago and I'm still healing from it, right? So I'm a toxic job survivor. I'm still healing from it. But part of my healing is to keep talking about it and to help as many Black women as I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, Roger, we haven't met. Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Yes. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for having both of us. But yes, I'm Dr. Roche Brown. My business name is the Doctor of Rethinking because I help people to remix their thinking so they can make money, manage their money, and multiply their money. So that's what I like to help people with. I teach people like in different ways that they can like really change their money mindset. I'm a financial psychologist, so actually licensed clinical psychologist. About 8 years ago, added the component of finances because people really like needed to change their mindset around money, around how they spent their money, feel all these fears, all this avoidance that they have around money, shame and embarrassment. So I help them with dealing with that, and then helping them with multiplying their money. I also am a life insurance agent as well, teaching them how to like get their retirement together if they're like an entrepreneur or leaving that job. So that's what I help people with.
Welcome. Where are you in the world?
I am in the Bay Area, so I'm in Oakland. I always tell people, too short, you might know some Keisha Cole, right? But I can be a little bit more refined because I also have, Kamala Harris, our vice president, is also from Oakland as well.
There's there's no need for a little more refined here.
Refined.
Yeah, I thought you were in California too. I was like, I think they're both West Coasters. So I appreciate y'all
Yeah.
getting up bright and early, like right, looking so cute at the crowd. Thank,
Right, right.
thank you very
Thank you. Well, let me say this, Stephanie, too, that I met Dr. Roche through a previous through my coaching program. So when I
much.
talk to Black women about how to get out, one of the things that I emphasize is coaching
Yeah.
is very important because you need to know the next steps of what to do. I've always worked with Black women coaches. Dr. TK, I'm giving you a shout out. So through Dr. TK, I met Dr. Roche, and Dr. Roche helped me get my money together so that I could resign. So because she helped me so much, because I had some serious money mindset issues, right? So because she helped me get out, I was like, you know what? I'm going to partner with her for a master class to show Black women how to get your money ready, get it tight, get it together so that you can leave. Because most Black women, myself included, the thing that kept me there longer was the fear of what was I going to do for money?
Hmm.
Was I going to get another job? What was going to happen? And all that fear. So I'm like, let's confront the fear and let us talk about what are the actual things you can do about your money so you don't feel stuck and you continue to be harmed at a toxic job.
That's right. I'm so glad to hear that financial psychology exists. I didn't know that it exists. But for Black women, I'm going to say in particular, we have money stuff, money issues. There's a lot of, well, let's talk about some of the money issues. What are some of the things, Dr. Roche, some of the like our big money like hurdles or our big money fear?
Ooh. Right. So many, right? But of course, like sometimes we make bad decisions around money. Maybe we were spending, didn't know what to do. What I noticed the most for like I'll say for Black women in particular is that we come from families that maybe didn't make as much money. And then now we have careers and now we make so much now, but we still don't know how to manage it because there was nobody else around us who ever taught us how to go about managing our money, how to save, how to build credit. And so then now we've made a lot of money mistakes.
Hmm.
And now we're in our 30s and our 40s. And now we feel a lot of shame and embarrassment around even getting any support around it. So
Yeah.
we kind of keep ourselves in these like different cycles. It could be the cycle of like paying off debt and then getting back in debt, like constantly going back into that area, not having enough saved, or not even saving at all, not even having that, feeling like we can save. Money avoidance is huge, right? So when I tell people, like, can you just go look at your money? Like, just please, just go look a little bit. It's gonna be okay. Everybody has all this money avoidance and a lot of anxiety around it. We know that clearly our money and mental health go together, because when you don't have no money, you know what I'm saying, you get depressed and anxious, you get nervous about things. So those are definitely like some other things that I see all the time. I even tell people about like just DoorDash. They're like, we have all these financial goals, but we eating up all our goals, right? Like, so you want to be a homeowner, you travel, you want to retire, but you're door dashing every day, so that's a huge, like, area. Even giving, I will say that too. Sometimes when we are in a position that we've made so much money, that we often giving to our family members, even could be to friends, but we sometimes can give to our detriment. It's not that giving is not a bad thing, but we need a plan around how we're going to choose to give.
I would appreciate it, Dr. Roche, if you would let us ease into the conversation. You don't
Oh,
have to call out every single. I mean, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Okay, so avoidance is my thing. I'm going to try not to turn this into my own therapy session, but
yeah.
avoidance is my thing. I just don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it. The problem with avoidance is you I think that sometimes the stress and the worry is worse that when you're avoiding it than if you just confront it.
In
Just
reality. Yeah.
look at what's happening. And when we're talking about leaving a toxic job, avoidance is a big problem, because then you don't know that you could get out. You could get
Mhm.
out, but you don't know it because you don't know where you stand, you don't know what your money looks like, you don't know what's happening. Shame
Yeah.
also. So the first one you talked about was shame. There is a lot of shame, because I think that for Black women, there's a lot of talk about, I mean, there's a lot of, we're raised to live in one way.
Hmm.
We're raised to do things one way. I call that Black excellence, and I hate it, right? We're raised
Hmm.
to achieve, strive, do,
Yes.
prove yourself, prove yourself. And
Yes.
so we can't be human, and we can't, if we can't make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, instead of being open about the mistake, we have to be so secretive,
Yeah.
which causes us to be so filled with shame. So everything,
Hmm.
and then okay, and then you talked about over giving to our detriment. I've seen that too.
Yeah.
That's not my particular. I don't think, or
You have some boundaries. You say
maybe,
no.
but I've seen that too. That right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for laying out.
Stephanie, can I add more? Can I add more to the
Please,
pot? Because
please.
there's a lot, right? So there's a lot. That's why I wanted to part. That's why I initially started working with Dr. Roche, because I knew I had so much money mindset trash, right? The additional, there's a lot, girl. So an additional is the golden handcuffs. So many
Oh,
of us,
yeah.
because we're working these jobs and they're paying us well, relatively well, and we feel like, oh, this is some good money though. Like, I don't want to leave.
Mhm.
Like, am I going to be able to get something that pays as much?
Uh-huh.
And then the other, I think it's honestly a lot that we say to ourselves is, this is a good job. I got good benefits. But I know,
Mhm.
Stephanie, you did a video and you even said a job is not a good job if it's killing you. Right. So if
Right.
you are accessing your benefits, your healthcare benefits, because of the stress of the job, that is not a good job. The other thing is sometimes we have this fear scarcity mindset because that's how we were brought up. And if we think about our parents many times, or those from a different generation, they are projecting their fears on us. Girl, you better not leave that job. That's a good job.
Mhm.
What about your pension? Right? So that's another
Mhm.
thing. And then the last thing I want to mention is consumer therapy. So because we're so upset and distraught about what's happening at the job, we try things to self soothe ourselves. So,
Yes.
eating is one, right? Another thing is consumer therapy. So, we
Oh,
are looking good. Like, we go to work, we are looking great, right? We spend a
mhm.
whole bunch of money on that masking,
Yeah,
but that again keeps us at the job longer than if we just look at our money and come up with a plan.
that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so you're adding more to the list of things that I have.
Right.
My own personal. Okay, so this might turn into a personal therapy section. Okay, so we have um, we have a picture. So Dr. Roche told us that in the money managing world, there are some mistakes that we make, and y'all added
Mhm.
to a list of money mistakes that we make. We want to talk today about why these mistakes don't mean we stay in a job or whatever. I saw when in the introduction, I said this is not only going to be helpful for women in a toxic job, but just women who want to leave a place, right? You're in a place, a marriage, a country, something that doesn't serve you anymore and you want to move from it. Money is usually the number one, two, three, four, and five reasons we stay, right?
Yeah.
And so we want to talk today about how we can go from a person who's making some of these money management mistakes to a person who can feel comfortable moving, who can feel comfortable exiting out of a bad situation. So, Kimani, Dr. Kimani, you told us that you were in a toxic workplace. We've talked before on this channel and on your channel, but can you give us a look at, can you tell us what that looks like for you and what toxic looks like for some Black women?
Yes. So I always say that toxic work environments looks different for everybody, right? But the way that you can tell it's toxic is if it's harming you. So you're starting to experience physical and or psychological symptoms. So for me, the job didn't start off as toxic. And I think for many people, it doesn't start off as toxic. It might evolve into being very toxic, but I think again, the mindset and the mindset that I'm very transparent on my channel is the lies that I told myself to stay there, the lies that I said, girl, it's not that bad. I would tell myself every day, it's not that bad. And as soon as I walked in the door, I was like, it is that bad, right? And so through that whole thing, like when things just started getting more and more ridiculous. So I invite Black women who are watching this right now, pause, just like Octavia Rahim talked about in Exodus Summit, pause and just listen to what your soul is saying. Is your
Mm-hmm.
soul saying, I love this place? Or is your soul saying, this place is harming me. I hate this place. I hate it, right? So on Sundays, I used to call it Sunday 5 o'clock blues. Sunday 5 o'clock roll around, I would be miserable. It was the worst day of the week because I knew I had to go back to that toxic job. If this is you, right? So pay attention to the signs. So I started experiencing these signs. So the dread of going to work, it became not only Sunday, it became every day. So the alarm would go off. I would be like, oh God, I have to, you know what I'm saying? That on my way to work, trying to like pep talk myself, getting out the car, it's not that bad. Walking in, it is that bad, right? All day, masking, right? Masking, leaving work and trying to release that toxicity, talking about that job way too much at home. Okay. So my family knew about all the key players, right?
Yes.
And it became all consuming, right? So now the job is taking over my life. Then I started having physical symptoms, right? My hair started falling out. So my hair is breaking off, falling out. My hairdresser saying, what's going on with you? What is happening with you? Because your hair is just, it's really messed up, right? Difficulty sleeping. My blood pressure started going up, started gaining weight, nightmares about the job. I started having these really profuse nosebleeds, like really bad nosebleeds. And I never had a nosebleed in my life, ever, right? So all these things, but yet and still, I kept saying, I'm gonna fight these people. I'm gonna fight these people. And then sometimes people in your circle would tell you, girl, don't give in to them. Don't let them win. Don't let them win. You can't leave. And so I bought into the lie, right? But it got to a certain point, Stephanie, that I was in therapy. I was with an amazing Black woman therapist. And she said, girl, if you don't leave here, it's going to kill you,
Yeah.
right? It's going to kill you, right? And I started noticing other Black women at that job. So I worked for the second largest school district in the nation, other Black women, and it wasn't that many Black people at the job were dying, right? So I was like, I'm paying attention, God. I got you. I'm seeing this, right? So they were dying, they were having strokes, they were developing cancer, having heart attacks, all that stuff. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna take a leave of absence. And when I took the leave of absence, I was able to pause and listen, and I could not lie to myself anymore, right? And I have a picture of myself, Stephanie, when I was like 2 years old, right here, and I have it by my desk, right? And I have that because I want to connect to the inner Kamani inside.
Yeah.
So would I put her back in that toxic work environment? No, right? So I had to give honor to my inner little girl. And the more time that I was away from the job, I was working with Dr. Roche, working with Dr. TK, working with my coaches, getting myself together. get my exit plan together, I was able to pivot. But guess what? I was still fearful of saying goodbye, even though it was 10,000 signs. Even though my friends said, girl, you got to go. Even though my close family said, girl, you got to go. Even though my therapist said, girl, you got to go. What got me was when I was in the shower and I heard the voice of God say to me, if you go back to that job, it's a death sentence. Literally got out the shower, resigned immediately. This is an effective throw away all my stuff. I'm not coming back there. I'm resigning immediately because of the toxicity at this workplace that is harming me. And I was working in the mental health unit. I'm resigning because you are harming me. And you expect me to go help and heal other people? I'm out, right? And
Yeah,
so that started my journey, right? But again, I hope the audience can hear the lies
yeah.
that I told myself. The lies. Oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get the money? And then I was working with Dr. Roche, and she's like, girl, you good. You can leave. You good.
Yeah, we don't have a clear picture of what could happen in a good way. We always go to the worst case scenario. We don't have
Yes.
a clear picture of how things could work out for us in our favor. And a lot of that is with money. And with money, we tend to just jump straight to, if I quit my job, you know what we're going to say. If I quit my job, I'm going to be home,
Mhm.
right? If I quit my job, or if I quit my job, I'm going to look like a failure, right? Always the worst case instead of, let's see what possibly could happen. So, Dr. Roche, is there something is there something that we should do first
Mhm.
to do we first start with looking at the money, or do we first start with like the money mindset and how we feel about money in general? What is the first step if we feel like we're in a toxic situation, we're ready to leave, but the money, our fear is money?
Yeah. So as I like am bringing people like kind of through the process, I often will kind of like, we'll do a little pass, we'll visit the past, and understand like, what were some of your money models, like who modeled money to you. Let's get an understanding of like what your thoughts are regarding money based on your like your experiences. What are your current money patterns? How does that like interact? So we kind of like go like a little visit to the past initially. But then we also visit the future, because we do need to have a vision. So basically, what you were describing, like we don't have a vision of anything else. So we only like feel stuck. Depression makes us feel stuck. There's no additional possibilities out there, right? Anxiety makes us have millions of thoughts of only the worst case scenario, and so I'm like, let's bring it back. Let's figure out like a vision. And so even, creating like that vision, what does it look like if you were to leave your job? And really going into that vision, like, in a happy, good way. What are you feeling when you're there? What are the possibilities of what you can do? Even in the masterclass, we're going to uncover, like I call them price tags. It's like a little acronym. What are your T, your talents, your A, your abilities, your gifts, right? That's your value that can be monetized in a different way outside of what you're doing. How do you use those skill sets from that job to actually like bring it to something else that you can monetize? But we have to develop a picture there so you can feel more comfortable moving in that world, right? And I often say, like, once we have that, we can then break up with our old self, right? Because that's what we have to do, because our old self is no longer serving us. We have to recognize that before we can move forward. So that's kind of like the process that I like, kind of put people through.
Okay, so you started with who modeled money to you. Can you tell?
Yeah.
So in my,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'll share first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
In
ahead, because
my,
it's your therapy session. You got two Black psychologists.
in my family, my mom who's not here. Hi, mom. She's out living her life. She's usually here on Saturday mornings. She was a person who seemed to always have the money to get what she wanted, right? My mom at times was a foster parent, right? At times she was in seminary, but
Yeah.
there was just, she always, and not like, I just want to say this in the gentlest way, not necessarily because my dad gave her money, because he was a different kind of money spender, right? But
Uh-huh.
because she just seemed, so as a child, money was just always there. So I have a different money approach than a lot of people, because listen,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it, okay? I'm gonna get it.
Exactly.
It's always there. I appreciate her for modeling money to me in that way. My dad was a person who had a good job and made money outside of his good job as well. So in my
Mhm.
world, the people who modeled money to me showed me that you can make money and you can spend money. And so
Right.
I'm a person who is as an adult person, I know I can make money and I can spend money, and I appreciate them modeling that to me. That's not
Mhm.
always what we get modeled. Can you tell? Do you want to
True.
share what, since you're a money person, how
Yeah.
did money become your thing, and who
Oh.
modeled it to you?
Well, it's so funny because I grew up in Oakland, and in Oakland I grew up in a dysfunctional family, like something had to bring me to the work that I do right now, and it was like people who were like on drugs and substances that were inside of like my household and also in my community. But ever since I was young, I was the one who knew how to like manage money. Like, I mean, young. I was like 6 or 7. I was like, I am not going into this store and you cannot afford this stuff. Like, I hate, like, one of my biggest pet peeves is going into a store and seeing somebody bring things, put things back because they can't afford it when they get to the cashier. Like, huge pet peeve. I'm like, calculate. We're going to calculate before we get there, And so I started like managing back then. Like, people would give me like money, like, those that were on drugs would say, hey, Shay, hold this for me. And I was like, okay. And I would literally have an envelope and say, like, okay, well, you gave me $200. You took 50 minus 50. Like, that was actually like my life. And then additionally, my mom was good with money though. And so I had that model of somebody who was actually good with money, and so she would, tell me about taxes and different things. She would say, like, oh, as you see, this is $2.99. It's really going to be $3.24 with taxes. So I would learn those things. I would learn, like, maybe you should treat yourself on days that you get paid versus like every day. Like, so I had all these good like teachings, as well as these family members who were bad at it too.
Okay.
And so that like would help me like get like better with it over time. And I would see things, like people getting paid on the first and then they would be broke on the fifth. And
On
I'd
the
be
eighth.
like, how did that happen? You know what I mean? Like, you just got all this money. So I would look at their patterns, and that was part of my like I guess what drew me into like the money area,
That's so
because I saw it
interesting.
all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
I have a real beef with purpose, and it annoys me when Black women in particular spend so much time working. Like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? But I don't know. Maybe you had a calling, at least, if not the purpose talk, at least a calling
Yeah.
that was like, this is your thing from a very early age. That's so
Yeah, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it. I was just always just good with money. It wasn't until like maybe 8 years ago I was like, let me add this, because what happened as a psychologist, I started to see my clients deal with the same issues. And I was like, nobody ever teaches us this, and it took me billions of years to get a doctorate degree, right? And nobody ever, stopped in and said, hey, learn this about your money, learn this about your money, and I just knew what I knew, right? But nobody else like tried to teach me more. So I was
yeah.
like, well, who teaches everybody else? I was like, I can be that person. That's just gonna happen.
All right, so talk about tapping into your talents, abilities, and gifts. You are walking the walk, right? Not just talking the talk, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Imani, when you were ready to start walking out of this toxic job and the money fears were rising up, was it because of money modeling, right? Was it because of some childhood stuff?
It was money trauma actually. So just vulnerability. My father died when I was 17, and I'm an only child. And I've talked about my channel a lot of issues related to that's how I got into psychology in terms of family upbringing and all that stuff, right? So my dad died when I was 17. I'm the only beneficiary. And when you see what happens with people and money when people die, it can just, oh my gosh, it can be horrible, right? Like, you see people's true colors and people trying to steal from you and all that stuff, right? So I had that money trauma from the age of 17. So I'm dealing with all this money trauma, and just as a 17-year-old trying to deal with all this stuff. And that carried on through for me. So
Yeah,
the avoidance of looking at my money, the fear of like that I always had to hold on to it because it was a certain amount, that kind of thing. And so that money trauma, I'm still dealing with that,
mhm,
right? So I have to still tell myself, this is my money. I have earned this money. I'm the owner of this money, all these different things. But Dr. Roche helped me with that. because she would ask me, so Doctor, how much money would you need to leave? Like she would just ask me, how much money do you need to leave? And I would say, I don't know.
Hmm.
Right. And
Always, I
so
don't
that
know.
was the
Always.
biggest part. That was the biggest part. But I had a lot of money trauma.
Mhm.
And so it looks different in different ways. But I think as Black people, as Black women, we all have some type of weird relationship with money.
Yes,
Mhm.
BB says money modeling for her looked like scarcity, lack, and poverty, and she's trying to
Mhm.
undo this. And so it can be super hard to leave a situation when you're afraid of your money, when
Mhm.
your money history as a child or in young adulthood was scarcity, lack, and poverty. So does
Yeah.
this mean we just don't try?
Baby, you gonna try. You want to leave.
We're gonna leave. We're gonna leave. All right. So we're
Yeah.
gonna work
Let
on.
me say this too, in terms of when we think about, as we have psychologists here. So when we think about avoidance, avoidance actually is not helpful long term. Short term is helpful, right? Like, oh, good, I have to deal with that, right? The longer we avoid, the worse it is, right? So
Mhm.
that's why we need to start taking baby steps. So you move up to, okay, I can look at my money every day, as opposed to, oh my God, okay, I can't do it today, maybe tomorrow, right? The longer you put it out, the worse it's going to be. So that's why
Mhm.
we need to take the baby steps. So the master class is you're taking baby steps to look at your money so you can get a financial plan, so you can get out, so you're not
Mhm.
stuck there because of the money.
Yes.
Right.
So so the next thing that you talked about, Dr. Roche, was what is your vision? First, who modeled money to you, and the second is
Yeah.
what is your vision? We
Yeah.
we can't really get our financial plan together until we have an idea of our vision. Is that right? Because
Mhm. Yes.
we planning for a life that we don't even want, and then plan. So like
Mhm.
Susie Orman says, you need $20 million to retire, but
Right.
that's a different life than the life that you want for yourself. And so then
Yeah.
you start creating a financial plan for the wrong vision. So first,
Yeah.
what is your vision? Do we do this just by journaling, visioning, talking to a therapist?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I mean, I tell people about
Uh-oh. She'll be back. We're still here, right,
Did we
Kamani?
lose her?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
you know how the internet will do you, okay? It's
oh,
okay.
that's true.
She'll be back.
That's true. When we're
Yeah.
telling too much truth, the internet is like, no.
Octavia Rahim said that. She's like, yeah, when you start talking this kind of talk, things are going to not work for you.
Taking our power back. No.
That's
Mm-mm.
right. That's right.
Yes.
Josette, so I see your questions in here. Josette says, what if your mother was not good with money? Or what if, right? So, and then my father was frugal, my mother was generous, but I never got a gift. So I over gift to myself. I think nice to have time to reflect and look back at things. So I started thinking about this a couple of days ago. And I was like, what is money? I watched you two have a conversation not too long ago. And I started thinking about like my money story. And so that's how I reached back and was like, oh, Connie Perry is this way, but my dad is this way. And I'm a little bit of both of those ways with money, plus my own avoidance. Neither one of them is really an avoidant person. They're fire signs. I like to avoid things. And so I have my own little thing in the mix. But it's interesting to look back at it and see. And for me, it was just like quiet time, journaling, listening to your conversation from your previous conversation with Dr. Roche helped me to look at like my money history, right? My money story. What is playing in my mind over and over again when it comes to money? So we want to wait for Dr. Roche. I don't want to go too far in, but okay. So maybe we can go ahead and talk about your master class without her. Is that okay? Okay. Tell us about your master class, Kimani.
Okay, so the master class is Get Your Money Right so that you leave that toxic job. This is for Black women. It's a financial master class. So it's a collaboration between Dr. Roche and I, and it's November 8th and 9th. 7 p.m. Eastern time. So it's two 90-minute sessions via Zoom. I want to talk about that too. So let's pin that about the Zoom part, okay? And so you're going to learn things just like what we're talking about. So in terms of what is your money story? What are your fears about leaving? Confronting those fears. So remember we talked about avoidance is not going to help you, okay?
That's
So
right.
how do you start confronting your fears about money? What is your money story? Coming up with a financial plan based upon when you are trying to leave. So some people might want to leave like today, right? Some people want to leave 3 months, some people want to leave in a year. So you will leave once you earn that master class, you will leave with a financial plan based upon when you want to leave. And I'm very clear for Black women that I never tell anybody just leave today, right? Or just leave and don't have a plan. I'm not saying that to anybody, okay? Unless you're in immediate danger. So if you are being physically harmed at your job, if you are experiencing, as we say, like to the point of like having a nervous breakdown, you need to go. Okay. So we're talking about coming up with a financial plan for you. And how do you start thinking about and planning for replacing your income? So I did a video about this, but that was how I was able to pivot and leave, was that I thought about, okay, so what are the skills and talents that I use at this job that I can do somewhere else and make money? And that's how I was able to leave. So when I was on a leave of absence, I have an exit plan. Is there some background noise?
Yeah, it's just wind. Dr. Roche is outside.
Oh, okay.
It's just a little wind.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry. Okay.
It's not.
So I was able to replace my income. So I want to teach Black women about how to replace your income, because what happens is that when we're in these toxic situations, we're stuck too because we think we don't have any options.
That's right.
But the fact that you got that job, you can get another job if you want to get another job, right?
Uh-huh.
And we're going to talk about what are the signs to look for so you don't end up in another toxic job. So if
Yeah.
you decide to go to get another job, what are the things to look out for so you don't end up in another toxic job? How to replace your income. If you want to start your own business, I'm going to talk about how you do that, like the beginning stages of that. And just the support again. Once you leave the masterclass, you will have a financial plan. So you're like, okay, I can look at my money. I'm good. I can get out of here. Okay. Now, I want to say something about the Zoom, okay?
Okay.
And this is something I didn't think about so much before I started doing this work. Black women have a level of fear that people are going to find out that they are trying to get out. It's like a plantation, right? So
Uh,
the job is like a plantation anyway. And then the plantation system is, we're going to punish you if you try to escape. And so Black women, a lot of Black women are fearful that people will figure out or find out they're trying to leave. So
uh,
what Dr. Roche and I are doing is that this is going to be Zoom webinar. Nobody can see you.
okay.
If you want to change your name, and comment, that's fine. You don't have to comment.
Okay.
And or you can get the replay,
Okay.
but it's best if you get the live,
Right.
okay? So you can get the replay after it's over, and early registration ends November 1st.
Very,
Okay. So
yeah.
we talk about money. So if you want to save some money, get your ticket now before November 1st. Okay. And I see the link is in the chat.
Yes. So okay. So I put too many words along with the link, and so it kept cutting it off. So I finally gotten it right. So now, friends, if you click the link in the chat, you'll get there, and then it's in the description already. The link is already in the
I see
description.
somebody said, Kissy trying to escape. Yes, we're trying to get our papers. Okay. It's like our ancestors have worked too hard for us to be where we are right now, for us to be in these jobs that treat us like we are enslaved. And we are claiming, oh no, we're taking our power back. Okay. So the financial masterclass is helping you get your papers so you can really go and be good. So
Yeah.
you're not going to be homeless and struggling and all that. You're going to be good. And let me tell you, since I've left that job, financially, I'm doing way better.
Yeah.
Psychologically, I'm doing way better. And physically, I'm doing way better. Okay. So there's no regrets at all about me leaving.
I think the biggest the biggest win, right, is the psychologically no regrets, but it's hard to get there until the money no regrets, right? Until the money is better, until you can see that, oh, the money is as good or better. It's like you've already said, money messes with your mind, right? So we need to get the money right so that we can feel the peace in other parts of our lives as well. It bleeds over. Yeah, so okay, so the link is finally working. Yes, okay. It is liftingasweclimbconsulting.thrivecart.com/financial dash masterclass. Okay, it's for those of you who are listening but not watching. This masterclass is a 2-day masterclass, and so I appreciate you adding in the component that you can be anonymous in the masterclass. There is some fear of retribution from your job, although Anne-Marie would tell you that them being vindictive to you is probably, a little extra money in the bank for you, but that's a different conversation. But there is some fear that people will find out, so I appreciate you doing that. I coach people on things, and I'm always like, get on LinkedIn and tell people you're doing this new thing. And sometimes Black women are like, no, indeed, I cannot say on LinkedIn that I'm starting this new business or that I'm coaching people on XYZ. My job would have a conniption, and then, it would make
Yeah.
life terrible for me. So thank you very much for
Yes.
thinking about that.
In fact, I did a video about LinkedIn trolls because I didn't know about that either. But they're actually employers who will follow their employees on LinkedIn, and there'll be some negative consequences. So if any this is happening to any of you, talk to some other people about how to get around that. I'm not going to say this because they LinkedIn trolls might be watching right now, but be mindful that there are LinkedIn trolls. And so don't let that again keep you. Again, that plantation mentality, the slave catcher trying to get you, the overseer trying to get you. No, we find just like Harriet Tubman, right? We're going to channel our inner Harriet and find ways out to get to the North Star. Okay. It may not be announcing things, or it may you have to do things in terms strategically. So the master class is one thing you can do strategically to get your plan together so you can get out.
Okay, Sassy Travel Goddess, the link is working. She's in. Okay, good. All right, yeah, we want to actively work towards that liberation, whatever that liberation is for you. We want to actively work towards it. It's not going to fall in your lap, right? It's not going to just appear. You have to take some steps to get there. And taking steps, getting coaching from somebody is a cheat code. There are things that you could do on your own. You could figure things out on your own, but it's going to take you forever. It's going to wear you out, right? And it's just not going to be as productive, as helpful as if you get coaching. We all have coaches. Okay. All right, good. Yeah. So I'm usually not a move in silence person, but I understand why this is a move in silence situation. Right? I always be like, don't move in silence. If you have to move in silence, you're in the wrong place. But that's the point. You have to
Yeah.
move in silence with these jobs because you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place.
And you have to be mindful too, which is really sad. All skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Yeah.
So don't announce to everybody at your job what you're trying to do. Okay. Particularly if they look like us. Because we have people who have our back, but we have people who don't, right? And they might act like they're your friends and they're really not working to your benefit. Colette Elizabeth talks a lot about this, about people who you think are your work friends going behind your back and doing things. So again, we need to operate in, do
Yeah.
your thing. You don't have to broadcast to everybody what you're doing, but still make the moves.
Yes. Still make the moves. My life in Sister Lock says this is a blessing. This session is a blessing. I left a job that was toxic to me, went to another job, bringing in more money. Now I can get my money straight. Wonderful, right? If there really is an idea that jobs are supposed to be bad and they're supposed to treat you bad, and that's just how it is, and there's no way for it to be better. Not true. Josette says, when I left my job, it was my family who harassed me and made me feel like a failure because of it. That is a big Black woman thing. That is a thing that Black women get on, heaped on them a lot. Family pressure to achieve and strive, and family pressure to stay there no matter what. No matter what. Not just no matter how your health is doing, but just like whether you like it or not. Nobody even cares if you like it or not. They definitely don't care not, I don't mean nobody cares, I'm being this too much, but that you will find that people don't support you in that way. This is why you go to get yourself in places and in community with people who will support this thing that you're doing. This master class doesn't come with, will it come with any form of, is there any way for people who do want to be in community with each other to be in community with each other? Or is that for a different?
Yes. No. So we'll talk about in terms of next steps, right? So in terms of if you want to work more with Dr. Kaman, or with Dr. Roche or I, in terms of coming up with your exit plan, and also how to have that community, because when we think about community, keeps us accountable, it gives us support, all these different things. And my hope is for Black women who are watching this right now, the journey of leaving a toxic job is very scary, it's very painful, it's all those things. And my hope is that right now you have a sister support, right, who are uplifting you right now, and we're offering you resources, okay? So, resources means that you have to have your hand open and be ready to receive the resources. You need to make that forward movement, and we are here to support you, okay? I know what it's like. I've been there. I'm on the other side. I'm still healing. But again, I'm reaching for you. I want to help you. And so that community is also available to you. But again, you got to be open. You got to take that step and know that we are here to support you. We
That's
are not out here trying to just get over on you or whatever. Like, we are really in here trying to help you.
that's right.
Okay.
That's
Stephanie, Roche says she's in the waiting room.
okay.
I'm here. I think that's. I don't know if you guys can hear
Oh,
me.
Okay,
We
good.
actually have earthquakes and blackouts out here.
Oh
Like we just had a
no.
power outage, and I was
Oh
like, "What is happening?"
no. Oh, if you need to go, Dr. Roche, it's okay. All right. Do you
Yeah.
need to go and take care of anything?
No, I mean, nothing happened. It was just outside of the power outage, so it knocked out the Wi-Fi and everything. So I was like,
Oh,
"Let me go get on
wow.
my phone, go outside,"
okay.
because it's still
Tamise,
dark.
Tamise, I have a question for you then. Is the third too late to register? Like when
No, it's
is this?
not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that you're going to miss early registrations. You're going to pay more as opposed to if you paid before November 1st, right? But up
right.
until the day of the master class, you can still register for it. So
Okay.
that's for the live. The benefit of the live is that you get more interaction with us. So if you have questions
Hmm.
that come up in the moment, you're able to ask those questions. But you can still access the replay too. So if you're like, I can't, make it to then, I want the replay, that's an option too. And I also want to say for Black women who are outside of the country, because I've gotten a lot of Black women contacting me from the UK, South Africa, other places who are going through this as well. So due to the time difference, you might be like, oh, I don't know if I can swing that, but you can absolutely get the replay.
Okay.
Okay, I want to make this accessible to all Black women
Yes.
anywhere.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. All right.
Yeah.
So after this is not too long, no, 8th and 9th, so you're right before the election. Okay,
Uh-huh.
this is a very important time for Black women to be making a plan,
Yes.
okay, without fear mongering. Right? I don't think it's fear mongering if you're talking about the truth. I think it's a very important time for Black women to be making a plan. We need to be leaving jobs and relationships and countries and all of these things and getting ourselves into a place where we can feel, not just feel safe, but thrive. And so this is good timing,
Mhm.
right? This is really good timing. All right. So, Dr. Roche, we've talked about who modeled money to you, and we were talking about how to get your vision together so that you
It's,
can make your plan. Is it,
yes.
do you find that women who are in a toxic situation have a hard time coming up with a new vision, or is it in there?
It's in there. It's already there, but you need somebody to give you permission to let it out. Right. And so what I tell people to do is like script. So scripting is almost like a play, so you get a journal, could be a pretty journal or just a little cute notebook, right? And you just take the time to actually script. Okay, if this was 3 months from now and I was out of my job, what would that look like? What would my day look like? and you literally script it out like it's a play. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm like feeling so free. My shoulders are no longer tense. Like you literally get into it. I feel happy. I just said hi to my spouse without an attitude. Right? Like you have all of the stuff that you would say, how you would feel, what would you be doing, and you really kind of live in that like storyline. And the more that you actually do it, and you get the journaling, maybe in the beginning you don't have all of the different details, but you kind of go back to it. You're like, let me go back to this, this story and read that script again. Let me add a couple more details that I would desire to have in my life at that point. So you kind of add those pieces. How much money would I be making, right? You do need to learn what that is, right? How much money do you need in order to feel good, to feel comfortable, to maybe travel, whatever that is that you desire. So you want to go ahead and get all that down on paper, and you can even record yourself saying it to yourself. After you get that script, right? That vision. So that vision can now be repetitive. So you can repeat it, listen to yourself, say it to yourself. So then you can have a different vision for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So, I kind of do this. Okay. I'm listening. This is therapy session. I apologize to the rest of y'all. Okay. I hope you're getting yours. Ask your questions in the chat. But I kind of do
Yes.
that, and I get to kind of take some time to like move around as if I'm in that life now,
Yes.
right? So that I
Yes.
see, because sometimes you're like, oh, actually, I don't know. I don't think this would work. I don't, not this, right? Not that.
Right.
It's also really nice to
Yeah. And
some.
then you kind of, once you have that vision, then you let it like guide your current decision making.
Yeah.
Right. So you're like, okay, now vision's here, now I'm going to guide my current decision. And then let me like reframe all that past trauma. Like what I was saying to myself, let's change, what that pattern was or what that narrative was, and
Okay.
move it into something different.
All right. And
Yeah.
this, when it comes to money, if we started as a person who has shame and avoidance, right? We've had we've been the overgiver, we've been the retail
Yeah.
consumer therapy person. We can work
Yeah.
ourselves with help. We can work ourselves to a person who is what? What's on the other side of those things?
Yeah, so a person who like thinks about giving, right? Takes the pause, says how much do I have to give, and you create a giving number, right? Like, and it could be different for different people, right? So you may say my number is $200. If somebody comes in and asks for 100, I still got 100 for somebody else who comes, right? But if somebody comes and asks for 200, I say no for anybody else that comes after that. I have a giving number in mind, right? Of what I would choose to do. I'm a better money manager. I don't avoid my money. I go and look at it every now and then. I create myself a financial health day, the way that we have like mental health days. We look at our financial health day and say, like, okay, this is what I'm thinking I want to do. Like, I want to look at my numbers and like, am I on track for retirement? Do I have enough money to pay my mortgage? Whatever that is, like looking at those, having a day, at least maybe once a month, or maybe it's every 2 weeks, for yourself. Create yourself a money day or financial health day is what I like to call it. You would be a person who would have, I call it abundance fund. I don't believe in emergency funds because I'm not trying to manifest emergencies in my life.
I
I
like
want to live out of abundance,
I like
right? you know, so, you would be a person who would have an abundance fund, have like, options because you're saving money somewhere. So that's what, it would start to look like. You would be freer, you'd be happier, and even just being more mindful, right? Like mindful about how you choose to spend money for the future. So that's like kind of the other side of
oh,
that.
wonderful. I kind of do.
I love. Okay.
I didn't realize that I did this, but I kind of have a money day. As an avoidant person,
I was like,
I,
yeah, you a boy. Okay.
I do it once a quarter, but it's because I have to, because I have a business, right? So every quarter I'll sit down and do like what they would normally call a profit and loss statement. I didn't realize I
Mhm.
had been doing that. I thought, but it's a thing that I've been doing. I don't enjoy it. Okay, but I do it.
Celebrate yourself. You don't have to enjoy it, but you do it. That's all that matters.
I do it. Money.
Can I? Yeah, I want to share. I am an example of being on the other side, right? So I went from somebody who completely avoided looking at bank statements, complete avoidance, right? I can readily look at the money on my phone. It's okay for me to do so. I'm okay with investing in myself, coaching. I'm always, seeking out more coaching opportunities because I know that this is going to help me make more money, right? And so I'm more strategic in terms of what I do with my money because I know this is going to help me grow, right? Getting a bookkeeper to keep track of my money, having a virtual assistant. Hey, Marissa Price is my outstanding virtual assistant because working with her, being able to delegate things that are not within my zone of genius, hello, Rachel Rogers, then I'm able to grow more money. So again, being more strategic. And also, this is something I learned from you, Stephanie, is that really upgrading your life. So I've been like envisioning what is the life that I want for myself. I think during the pandemic and stuff, I was like, this is not it.
Yeah.
This is not being at this toxic. This is not it. I did not work this hard for this. And
Uh-huh.
it's like, okay, so what is the life that I want for myself? Like Dr. Roche talked about, envisioning that. And I'm a spiritual person. So every day I start my day, God, please let me know what direction you want me to go in. And I'm obedient. I listen. Right. And so when I'm able to do that, I'm creating the life that I want for myself. And now I'm flying first class. You know
Uh-huh.
what I'm saying? Like I'm living the life that I want for myself. And it's so much better on the other side. And how am I able to fly first class? Is that this is an example of how I replace my income. So when you're at your job, think about who are the people who are connected to you, right? But people are probably looking at you and saying, oh, Stephanie's really good at that. And
Mhm.
they're probably seeking you out some kind of way.
Yeah.
So be open to that. Okay. So that's how I'm able to fly first class now. I do trainings around the country. People are paying me to fly first class. They do my hotel, my food, everything, and I get paid a lot of money. Okay. Because that's something I used to do at the previous job. So think about the skills and talents you have. You can pivot and you can create the life that you want for yourself and have multiple streams of income. We're going to talk about that in the master class too.
Yes.
Multiple streams of income.
Yes. So you said that one of the things you're going to do in the master class is take an inventory of your talents, abilities, and gifts, right? Once you do that, you start to see money, right? You can see that you just see, these right here, they're money. These talents, abilities, and gifts, they're money, and they're not tied to one employer.
Money is everywhere, everywhere.
It
And we
is.
have to just have our eyes open to it and be more mindful of it.
That's right. That's right. So we all, the three of us, are all making money from our talents, abilities, and gifts, not tied to an employer, and
Hmm.
in a variety of different ways. That means we can live out the life that we have a vision for, right? The vision may, you know, you may elevate the vision over and over, but for today, we get to live the life that we have a vision for today. It's not because of something else. It's because of the talents, abilities, gifts we already have. So in the master class, this is something that y'all will be working on together. You'll be making an inventory, and you're going to find the money. Like, one
Yes,
thing we know is Black women have talents, abilities, and gifts.
yes,
Because if we
yes,
didn't, we would be sinking. We're already not being paid adequately. If we didn't have it, right? If we didn't have the ability to do things extremely well, we would be sinking. And
yeah.
it's there. It's there. Yeah. All right.
Stephanie, can I add something too? Is that, for Black women, in terms of thinking about our mindset, right? So the mindset shift is instead of thinking about, I'm quitting, I'm walking away, I'm weak, all those other things, right? So Colette Elizabeth talked about this too. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to take your power back and walk away. That's the strongest thing you can do. Okay. That's the one thing. The
Yeah.
other thing is, know that you are living life on your terms. Nobody has the power over you in terms of what you're doing. And I read somewhere that now Black women, we're the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So there's money out there, okay? Just be open and know that you do have options. And I want to respond to something I saw in the chat several times.
Okay.
You are going to experience fear. Okay. I'm not going to lie to you and say, you go to this masterclass, you'll have no fear. The fear is going to be there. Okay. Know that the fear is there, but also know that the fear is not going to control you.
That's
You
right.
have to confront the fear and learn different ways to come up with a plan so you feel more confident. Okay. The fear is going to be there. So don't feel like, oh, I feel the fear. I can't take this class. I can't leave. No, reject that.
Yeah, so every person who has done anything has felt fear, right? So Kimani, you left a toxic job, went to a new
That's
employer,
normal.
and started doing things else away from an employer, and like you were just not afraid at all, and no, right?
I had fear the whole time, right? And you know what? It's also shifting your mindset from, okay, now the work that I do is contract work in terms of that, but I have multiple streams of income. There are things I do on my own, there's things I do contract basis, but I determine what I want to do and when I want to do it. And I determine my rate, right? So I'm getting paid the rate that I should be paying. And the other thing that trips people up is the so-called health benefits, right? So I
Yeah.
talked already about if the job is harming you, stressing you out, and that's why you're accessing the health benefits, that makes no sense. But also, people think, oh my God, the health ben- I pay out of pocket for health benefits. It's not that bad. It really is not that bad. So know that even if you have to pay for your own health benefits, I would do that any day than being at some job that's killing me, that's making me go to the doctor more often and probably shortening my life.
hmm This is another thing that a financial wellness day can solve for you because we don't know what health benefits would cost on our own. Some of us, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and so it's easier to say, listen, I can't leave because I can't lose these benefits, instead of
Yes,
let's take some time and figure out how much it would cost you. And you know,
yes, yes,
my solution is always going to be go to another country. Okay, go to a country where healthcare is more accessible. So serious. I just had
yes.
3 root canals and what crowns put in Costa Rica, and I went to a bougie dentist who speaks English, and they right, and the woman was one of the top endodontists in the country. $850 per tooth, which I'm told is
What?
about a third of what it costs in the United States. Just leave the country,
Yes.
like
Yeah,
seriously. And this is
yeah,
without me looking for a budget dentist, right?
Right.
yes.
Oh, wow.
Go
There's
someplace.
other options. Yes. And you know what, Stephanie, girl? Okay. Our master class is so jam-packed with stuff. I forgot to say some more stuff. You just
Okay.
reminded me something, right? So we do talk about benefits and health benefits and your different
Hmm.
options. And we talk about for those of us who have worked for an employer for a time period, we have some retirement tied into that job, that employer.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about the options for rolling over your money too. So it's
Oh,
a lot of stuff we're
Yeah.
gonna cover. We forgot to mention that too, but you're gonna get that too.
okay. That's why this.
Yeah. Or starting your own retirement as an entrepreneur if necessary too.
Yeah, people ask me, do people ask you that all the time, Roche? People ask me that all the time, but what about retirement? I'm like, girl, you can put money into your own retirement account. Just do
You
it.
can do it yourself. It's possible. But we're afraid of investing. I mean, that's a whole other thing, right? Like we don't know how to. Nobody's ever taught us. So I mean, it's always the fear of the unknown. So that's why we're gonna like make you know, right? We're gonna give you knowledge so you don't have as much fear around, making the move.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You just need somebody. We don't know the questions that we have an easy answer. We think the question is going to be so complicated. There's an easy answer to that, probably. And then we need somebody to tell us the answer and show us how to work through it for ourselves. Yeah. Yeah, not knowing the cost. Yeah, Cassandra, not knowing the cost of healthcare and insurance. Um, she calls it the great unknown, right? It's on purpose. It's designed to keep us in a place that we don't want to be, instead of giving us access to our own freedom, our own liberation. Yeah, yeah. It is. It's close to 2 hours each night, right? TYSGEM says, I think this masterclass needs to be 2 hours each night. It's what? Two, it is.
Oh yeah, it's definitely yeah. It's 2 hours because it's both of us speaking. So like Dr. Kamani will take an hour, I'll take an hour. We'll also do question and answer. Like yeah, so it may even go a little over, but yes, it's definitely has to be 2 hours.
There's meat here, right? There's meat here. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a master class. This is a time like Exodus Summit, right? This is a time when you need to block off your calendar. You need to get yourself
Yes.
in the mental space to be ready to receive and to take action
Mm-hmm.
towards your own vision for yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
You treat it, take it
Now,
very,
keep in mind, we're psychologists, so we'll get you together, right?
okay,
We'll start a mindfulness activity
okay,
before
good.
we get started as well.
Good. Okay, that's right. That's right. Y'all know how to do that. That's right. Yeah, we don't want to. This is not a. This can be life changing. Okay, this can change your life. Once you untether yourself from a job that you can't stand, you could be on the screen glowing like Kimani and Roche. Okay, so we're going to make some. We're going to treat this like the serious thing that it is. So make sure that you have the time. Block off the time. Get yourself in a place where nobody's going to be demanding things from you. You can be focused and you can pay attention. Okay, this is liberation work. Okay. All right. So, is there anything that you feel like we didn't discuss in terms of identifying a toxic situation, workplace or otherwise, right? Because these symptoms that you told us, they apply to other things. I don't. I swear, I'm not trying to tell y'all to divorce your husbands, but some of y'all are having, you're gaslighting yourselves about other things. You're gaslighting yourselves about some situation. So, leaving a toxic job or situation or country, okay? You're experiencing physical symptoms like loss of sleep and high blood pressure. You're experiencing the psychological symptoms like gaslighting yourself, right? You're avoiding the money, or you feel shame about money, or you feel like you have some golden handcuffs that tell you you can't leave, or you have external pressures from family and friends telling you you can't make a change, right? We've talked about how we can start making our exit by working on our money mindset and our actual money strategy, our money plan. And we've talked a little bit about our actual, and part of that money plan can be a replacement plan, an income replacement plan, which might be another job, might not be another job, might be a business that you do for yourself, might be living on investment income that you already have, right? So those are the things that I took notes on we covered. We talked about fear as well, and about fear not being a stop sign. I say that all the time. Fear is not a stop sign, right? Just because everybody feels fear. So there's propaganda out there that there are fearless people who do achieve all these things. No, they're not.
Never.
They were terrified.
Yeah. If you're experiencing some anxiety, you're moving in the right direction. Like that's what's supposed to happen. So we're just going to help you know the steps, like the next steps as you're moving through that anxiety. So you don't go back to what's familiar.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
What do you think? There's anything that we didn't cover that you would like to hit on?
Yeah, I just want to say,
Yeah.
just to remind, oh, it's going, Roche, go on, Roche.
No, I was just going to add, like, I mean, yeah, we mentioned like a timeline. So depending on where you are, we will say like what the immediate timeline would look like if you want to leave in 3 months, if you want to leave in 6 months, because there's going to be different things that you need to do in order to plan for that financially. So we will like give you like a timeline based on where you are. Maybe you want to leave in a year, but even if you are prepared for it, now you know exactly what you need to do. So we're going to also have that as part of it as well.
Okay. Now I'm gonna butt in and say,
Okay.
friend, you don't have to. That can be scary to some women. You can pick a timeline and adjust a timeline, right?
Oh, definitely.
Some
Yeah.
women will procrastinate themselves out of making a change because they don't want to nail themselves down to something like a timeline. So just
Yeah.
arbitrarily, seriously, you can arbitrarily pick a
Yeah.
timeline and start working on a plan
Yeah.
and then adjust from there. Okay? This
Definitely.
not
Yes.
not being able to pick a timeline is not a reason to never get started. Okay, let me butt in
Oh,
there.
definitely. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right.
We see that a lot. We see that a lot because of XYZ, I can't move forward. And a lot of times it's because I don't know when something is happening, or
Yeah.
the whole idea of a timeline can really hold women up instead of just freeing them to take an action and then make adjustments. Every plan you're going to make
Yeah.
is gonna have adjustments anyway.
Oh, all day. Yes.
Yeah. Cinderella says, unfortunately, when your mate loves to spend money, you're trying to save for the future. Okay, I'm glad Rashida's not
Ooh,
here. She would just tell you to leave. Okay, I promise you, my life's mission is not having Black women divorce their husbands. Okay, but for some of you, you would live better. Okay,
you would live better.
some. I said some. I didn't say everyone. Last week, Roche, I had to have some women last week tell me what they liked about being married. Because listen, all we hear is the
You got
bad.
to get your mindset shifted. Like, oh, maybe there's something else.
Share the good.
I'm
'Cause
not married over here either, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Well, and well, honestly, I can share the joys, but that's a separate conversation. I can, but that's a separate conversation.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm like, listen, all I hear is the bad. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Go ahead.
I have a few. I have a few. Okay. So one, just to remind the audience about what we talked about security, right? So by participating in the masterclass, it will be Zoom webinar, so people cannot see you. If you want to comment, you can change your name because we know the fear is real because we know what people can do. Okay, so be mindful of who you share your information with. And again, the webinar, it will be webinar format, so that's security part. The other part is as you're thinking about the fear, and I'm this psychologist hat on, right? As you're thinking about the fear you might have about leaving that job, I invite you to think about what evidence supports that you cannot make money. What evidence, right? Because if you were able to get that job, you were able to get other jobs, that's the evidence that you can make money. Okay, so think, collect the evidence, right? The other thing is if you are uh, recognizing as you're going through your money fears and all these different things that it's triggering other unresolved issues you might have in your life. I know that happened for me. Absolutely go into therapy. If you're not already in therapy, think about therapy, particularly with a Black woman. Okay. So there are therapy resources for Black women that are free. So there's the Loveland Foundation. Rachel Cargo was on the Exodus Summit. So the Loveland Foundation is one option. They provide free therapy vouchers for Black women. And then also the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation, which is Taraji P. Henson's foundation. It really talks about mental health awareness in the Black community. And periodically they have mental health awareness campaigns where you're able to access free mental health services. Okay. So those are two resources available to you in terms of therapy. And I would say to you, if you are stuck by fear and you recognize there's some more stuff to this, there's some unresolved childhood or other traumas related to getting your plan together, masterclass and therapy. Okay. Those
Yeah.
are options. And then I want to talk about who this masterclass is not for. Okay. This masterclass is not for Black women who are saying, I am determined to stay at this job and I just want you to teach me how to stay. I
Okay.
just want you to give me this is not for you. Okay? This is not for you. This is for Black women who are ready to leave. They may not know when, but they know that they want to go, but they want to get ready. So I was joking with Dr. Roche about it's kind of like get ready, get set on your marks, get set, go,
Okay.
right? So this is getting you ready. This is the getting ready. And the last thing I want to say is, as we're in this space and we're talking about supporting other Black women, my hope is that you are supporting other Black women as well. So if you know a Black woman is in a toxic job, please support her. Please uplift her. Okay. Please don't say any scary stuff to her,
Yeah.
uplift her, share this video with her, share with her about the masterclass, and you can even gift a Black woman this masterclass.
Okay.
So think about if you know a Black woman, and unfortunately, most Black women that I know are either currently in a toxic job or they've left a toxic job. If you are recognizing your sister friend, your relative is struggling right now in a toxic job, you can gift her the masterclass. That helps her too.
Yes. Wonderful. Okay. I just looked on the site because was there a limit for registration? Because Erica's saying offer is no longer available. Hold tight, y'all, in the chat. Hold tight. We'll find out if there was a limit put in by mistake or if it's just sold out. Okay, we'll find out. Okay, and then the link. So hold on to the link. I don't want to tell you to wait. I don't want you to forget. Okay, so hold on to the link, and we'll figure that out. Because y'all don't think that. Can someone else try? Did anyone else see that? Okay. All
And
right.
Well, Marissa, are you able to check? I know
Oh, yeah,
Marissa's here.
Marissa, do you mind checking that for us, please? Seeing if there,
Yes.
okay, okay. All
Thank
right. Thank you very much for talking about who it's not for, because we're not coping, right? Who taught us that? Was it Danny? Danny Ellison. Danny Ellison, who is a coach helping women leave narcissistic mothers, right? Uh, not leave mothers. What is the word called? Y'all know what I'm
I
talking
think she had no contact. No
about. No contact.
contact, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
No contact. You can't cope and heal. Okay, you have to choose one. You have to choose one.
And I always say too,
That's
I'm
right.
sorry. I'm
No.
sorry. I'm sorry. So I'm so excited
Uh,
because I love talking about this, right? Because now that I've gotten free, I'm like, sis, please get out. It is so much better. And I'm like so excited to share this with you, right? But I'll also share on my YouTube channel, you cannot heal in the same environment that's harming you.
no.
So I can't teach you about healing if you're going back to that same environment that's beating you down, abusing you, right? So I saw in the chat that it is like an abusive relationship. So if you are continually being beat, how are you healing at the same time? So that's why I talk about my mission is helping you leave and heal, okay? Because it's an ongoing healing process.
Yes. We'll take a few more questions from the chat. Nini for real, 802. What about women who already retired but need the information to leave a toxic country? So what you're talking about is identifying your talents, abilities, and gifts, getting a plan in place, looking at your money, getting a money strategy. Would that also be helpful to someone who's already retired? Am I
I
putting?
think it would be helpful. Yeah, it would definitely be helpful. But we are going to be focusing a lot on like leaving the job. So if she's like okay with hearing that information and being of support to the women that are there, but learning the financial component definitely would be of support. Even understanding like what she would need in order to leave a country. I actually had a couple who was like, we want to live in Europe in 5 years. What's the plan? And so that's what we created. Those that have worked with me in the past.
Okay,
So
good.
yeah.
So I don't know. Listen, the women in this community will tell you what they want you to do. Okay, so Ali right now is saying this is very similar to the last question. Senior citizens 55 and up, help us make a financial plan towards retirement. Okay.
Mm.
All right, so that's okay. The women in this community are telling you what they want from you. But Dr. Roche,
Okay.
so let
Yeah.
me give you a place to reach out to not reach out to, disregard.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how to learn from Dr. Roche uh, on
Yes.
on rethinking your money.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
and I have it linked. Tell me where you want me to link to, Dr. Roche.
Yeah. Whatever link you have, it's what link do you have?
I
You
have your
can. I mean, you can go to my Instagram.
and I
Yeah.
have
My Instagram.
okay, and I have your lead magnet whose name I don't recall right now.
Like at remixingyourmoney.com or mymindonmymoney.com.
Let me look. Let me look. Let me look. I have
Okay.
Love Method.
Oh yeah, the love method. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
my mind on my money.com. Yeah.
Okay.
So we kind of it's all about like, getting loving your money and loving yourself.
Okay.
So you definitely get the love method.
All
And
right.
it'll give you opportunity to connect with me afterward, jump on my calendar and like talk about what's going on for you.
Okay. So that's a good thing to link to. Okay. All
Yes.
right.
Uh-huh.
You gave a different link than I have. I have a work with drroche.live/opt-in. You said it's called mymindonmymoney.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either they go to the same thing. They go to the same thing.
So I'll leave what I have. Okay. Because if I type it out, who knows if I'll get it right. Okay. So
Right. Yeah.
so
It goes to the same place.
if the money talk resonated with you today, but you don't need the toxic job talk, right? Then Dr. Roche is a person that you're going to want to connect with. This is her uh, offering to you, right? This
Yes.
video, how professional women are using the love method to make, manage, and multiply their money.
Multiply their money. Yes.
This link is in the description of this video already. Okay? If the
Thank
money,
you.
if you got your money straight, and if the toxic job situation is one that needs attention from you, Dr. Kimani's YouTube channel is Lifting as We Climb Consulting Wellness Services. And She has a newsletter that helps you heal from your toxic job, and I'll link to that here. It's already in the description of this video as well. So if you're already interested in the masterclass, you might as well follow them on their YouTube channels and get their things, the newsletter and the video, get those things and sign up for the masterclass, okay? All right, get your bases covered,
May
okay?
I also add,
Yes.
Stephanie, that in addition to contacting us individually, right, that as you're going through this process, sometimes, because I know for me, and this is a lot in terms of the work that I do, it's informed by my own healing journey and my work with Black women clients. But sometimes when you're in the midst of the fire, so one of my friends said, you're getting crispy. You're in the middle of the fire, getting crispy right now. That when you're getting crispy, you are so disconnected and lost. Like, I don't even know where to start, right? So for myself, I created something to help me, like a roadmap to help me get my mind together. And that's called the Welcome to Your Queendom Digital Fillable Workbook. So that's an option for you too. If you are so lost and you don't even know where to start, that's an option for you. And you can access that on my website.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to let you know, liftingasweclimbconsulting.com is an option for you. And I also hope that you can see, audience, how passionate Dr. Roche and I are about this topic.
Yes.
We love this topic. We love talking about this. This is a heavy issue,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be like, oh my God, it's not going to be like a dread kind of, right? So it's going to be like a
Mm-mm.
lot of
We're gonna have
energy and
fun.
support, right? It's going to be fun. So know that you are going to come into this space. You may have a lot of anxiety coming into the space, but you will leave feeling relieved,
Yes.
right? Like, oh my
Hmm.
God, I'm so glad I did this. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. There's nothing more fun than we're moving towards your future, right? Moving towards your vision.
Hmm.
And so yes, it's a heavy topic. It's a thing. It's gonna, you're gonna come into the session thinking about the why you need to leave that toxic job, and that's gonna be really
Hmm.
you. But you're gonna leave the workshop. You're gonna leave knowing a plan. And that
Yes.
Tony Robbins, who, I don't know if we like him or not, but Tony Robbins says happiness is hope plus progress, right?
Mm.
What this coaching is going to give you: hope and action towards
Progress.
that hope.
Hmm.
Hope plus progress, that's
Yeah.
happiness, right? So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. Sometimes we get so used to the feelings, the negative feelings in a thing, we think that working towards healing it is also going to be so negative and so heavy and so hard and so sad and so down and so, no, there's joy there. There's joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Starlet says she'll see y'all in the mastermind, in the master class. Okay, good.
All
All right.
right. Welcome, Starlet.
Yeah. Marissa, I meant to look back for Marissa just to see if she's giving us any update. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I don't think so. I think it's okay. So another lady I saw said she got the same message, but she was still able to register. So go ahead and register. Go ahead and register. And then if for some reason you cannot register right now, give us a few minutes. Once the video ends, they'll take a look and see what's going on the website. Y'all know how the internet is.
Right.
The internet does not want us to thrive, but we're gonna thrive. Okay,
We thriving.
we
Yes.
gonna thrive. All right. I appreciate your patience, friends. I appreciate you for being patient with me when I thought y'all weren't here. I was like, they still sleep. It's California. No, I was like, the internet, I was like, there's something going on, but I don't know what it is. So let me start the video and we'll figure it out later. So I appreciate your patience. Such a pleasure to talk with you both. Such a pleasure to meet you, Dr. Roche.
Yes. So nice meeting you as well.
Yeah, and thank you very much for coming in. So the women in this community are the women who have had what we've talked about, right? They've had um, not only the experience of the toxic workplace, but they've had the money questions or fears, and they've had the
Mhm.
pressure from other people in their families or in their friend groups or in their communities telling them, no, you just have to suck it up. So thank you very much for
Mm,
coming in and
Yeah.
mm,
voice to let them know that no, That's not what we do here. We don't just
Yes.
suck it up. We don't just let these jobs kill us. We actively
No.
put in a plan and we actively move towards our own liberation, our own freedom, our own
Hmm.
enjoy,
Exactly.
and all of that. So thank
Yes, channel your own inner Harriet. Channel, she's in there, right?
Yeah.
Channel
Right.
her and access the master class or whatever will help you get out. And also know that when you do things in terms of forward movement, in terms of creating the life that you want, you are honoring our ancestors and all that they went through for us to be here right now. And you're honoring yourself,
that's
right? And I just want to say publicly, I can't say it enough, Stephanie, we appreciate you. Thank you for providing this platform for Black women to support healing. And Black women, I hope that you are able to access whatever healing that's available to you. There are resources available for you. You have options. I want you to see and hear this experience. I want you to see and hear what I talk about in terms of healing and know that healing is possible. These jobs may try to
Mhm.
destroy you, but they won't, right? We're going to rise up even higher. How about that, right? So they may try to destroy you. Take your power back. You are not quitting by walk. You are
right.
choosing. You're taking your power
Mhm.
back by walking away and creating the life that you want for yourself and that you deserve.
That's right.
So remember that.
That's
Yeah.
right. Some of y'all don't are triggered by the word quitting. I happen to be a serial quitter, and I'm really proud of that for myself. But some of y'all don't like the word quitting. Just reframe it, right? You are moving
Yeah.
what you want, right? Move in the direction of the thing that you want for yourself. And
Hmm.
want for yourself is not a job that has you crying in the parking lot or in the bathroom or whatever, right? Move towards what you want. Okay, all right. So thank you, friends. Thank you all for your patience. Um, I want to make sure that there's not something that I forget. Every time I end, I'm like, oh, I forgot to do this. But thank you very much for your patience. In the chat, thank you for being so wonderful and patient with us as well. But keep making progress, keep moving forward. Get the coaching that you need, get the help that you need so that you can live out a life where every day you wake up glad to be here, right? Glad to be here.
Oh, that's what I want to say, right? When you leave that toxic job, when you think about your well-being, your psychological well-being is very much impacted by what's going on around you,
Yes.
right? If you're spending
Hmm.
most of your time at a job, think about all that toxic, all that poison that you're ingesting all day. Even if you work from home, one of my clients talked about bullying from the laptop, right? So all that toxicity that you're taking in, when you leave that toxic job, your life is completely different.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to wake up in dread. I wake up in joy now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake up before the alarm goes off. I
Uh-huh.
was in the DMV in line, right? Some music was playing. I wanted to dance in the DMV. Now, if that's not telling you something, right? My life is so much better. And I want that for you too. So I just wanted to share that too.
Hmm.
That's right. Thank you for that. Yeah, we'll close on that. Yeah, well, I said we'll close on it, but now I want to talk some more. So your job, the way jobs are set up in the United States of America, your job is bleeding over into other parts of your life. It is an invasive species.
Hmm.
And we don't recognize the way your job and the stress, the toxicity, the racism, the all of it from your job, the way it impacts all parts of your life and all parts of you. You don't know it until you're out of it, right? You don't know, you can't, it's so ubiquitous. It's just how it is that you don't recognize it until you're gone.
Hmm.
Something we don't talk about enough, right? It's not just the job. A toxic job is not just affecting your work life. It's not even just affecting your work life and your health.
Hmm.
It's affecting every relationship. It's affecting parts of you that you have to bury or suppress
Hmm.
or smother, right? It's affecting all of you. This is why we talk about it. If it was just a matter of a
Yeah.
toxic job, we would just be like, well, just get a new job, right? This is why we work on a totally different plan because it's more than a toxic job. It's a toxin, and they don't stay put. They don't stay in their place. They bleed over into all of your life, all
And
of
they kill you.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Angela says, I wish I'd had this 10 years ago. Well, you know what? It's not too late. You're here.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Never too late.
I'm convinced, okay? We had someone earlier say 55 was senior citizens. I happen to believe that 65, you're still middle age, okay? We're in a new
Mm-hmm.
day now. So
Yes.
I don't think it's too late. Okay.
And I saw somebody in the chat said, is this for somebody 50? I'm 52. So absolutely, this is for anyone, anyone. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what country you're in. If you're a Black woman and you have had some experience with a toxic job, this is for you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're invited. Okay, friends? All right. We did it. Thank you so much. Okay. Kimani, Roche, please hang on for just a second. Okay. Thank you so much, friends.
Okay.
I appreciate you for being here.
Bye,
Go
everyone.
ahead and get your registration
Bye.
masterclass. All right. See y'all soon.